Good day everyone. So today we will going to discuss the module 6, which is Jose Rizal at the University of Santo Tomas. So our objectives for today's lessons are at the end of this module, the students should be able to discourse the student life of Jose Rizal in UST and the reason why it was disagreed by his mother. Then, the learners will be able to learn the different courses taught by Jose Rizal while he was studying in UST. Then, the learners will going to make a comparative analysis of the academic climate between Ateneo de Manila and the University of Santo Tomas during Rizal's time. And lastly, the students will going to overview the love memories of Jose Rizal while he was in UST. And now let's proceed to our main topic, which are Jose at the University of Santo Tomas, Philosophy and Letters, Surveyor, Medicine, Leonor Rivera, Leonor Valenzuela and Jose Rizal's Invisible Love Letters. Then lastly, the Jose victim of Spanish officers' brutality. Mother's opposition to higher education. So after graduating with the highest honors from Ateneo, Rizal went to the University of Santo Tomas and took his BE course. So it has been said that BE course during Spanish time was equivalent to high school and junior college nowadays. So his studies at the University of Santo Tomas made it possible because it was supported by his brother Pasiano and his father Don Francisco. Doña Teodora disagreed not to send Jose to study high courses because of what happened with the Gomborza. Philosophy and Letters. So in April 1877, at the age of 16, he enrolled at the Faculty of Philosophy and Letters, major in Philosophy. So the reason why he enrolled the said course because his father liked it and still uncertain as to what career to pursue. So during his first year in the UST, Rizal studied cosmology, metaphysics, theodicy, and history of philosophy. Surveyor. So in year 1877 to 1878, he returned to Ateneo while studying at the University of Santo Tomas. He took up course on land surveying which was offered then as vocational course. He completed the surveyor's course and was awarded the title Perito Agrimensor or Expert Surveyor. So he passed the final examination for the course. He could not practice the surveyor's profession since he was still underage when he passed the course. He was issued his certificate on November 25, 1881 at the age of 20.
So good day. So the next topics is about the medicine in 1878 to 1879. So he pursued medicine. So the reasons it was during the following term 1878-1879 that Rizal having received the Ateneo rector's advice to study medicine and he chose medicine for a career was to able to cure his mother growing blindness. Note, he had written to Father Pablo Ramon, rector of the Ateneo, who had been good to him during his student days in college, asking from him an advice. So, so he pursued medicine, medical course upon the advice of Ateneo rectors to study medicine. So the reasons is to be able to cure his mother growing blindness. So the reason this is he studied and passed all subjects leading to the degree of Doctor of Medicines. Unfortunately, he was not able to submit the thesis required for graduations, nor paid the corresponding fees. With that, he was not awarded his doctor diploma. So the next, medicine in UST. So some of his grades were still excellent but he had also lower grades. The Ateneo boys one day found the atmosphere at the University of Santo Tomas suffocating to his sensitive spirit. He was unhappy at these Dominican institutions of higher learning because the, the Dominican professors were hostile to him. Filipino students were racially discriminated, and the method of instruction was obsolete and repressive. So the next, decisions to study abroad. So after finishing the fourth year of his medical course, Rizal decided to study in Spain. So he studied because the reason discriminations and hostility in ST. So Rizal had a personal reason as well as an altruistic reason for his decisions to study abroad. He wanted to become an eye specialist in order to cure her mother from an eye ailment. He also wanted to study the cultures, laws, and government of European countries in order to help his countrymen. So, the next is who is Miss L? Shortly after losing Segunda Katigbak, he paid court to a young woman in Calamba. In his student memoirs, he called her simply Miss L. He described her as fair with seductive and attractive eyes. After several visits, Jose Rizal stopped pursuing her because of Segunda's sweet memories and his father's was against her family. Rizal himself did not give her name. So, who is Miss L? So, Miss L is Leonor Rivera. So, was the childhood sweetheart and lover boy, but correspondence of Philippine national heroes Rizal. So, Leonor Rivera Kiping, born April 11, 1867. That's all. Thank you.
Leonor Rivera was Jose Rizal's true love. On top of being dubbed as Jose Rizal's childhood sweetheart, betrothed, and lover by correspondence, she was widely considered as the hero's true love. Leonor Rivera was the daughter of Antonio Rivera and Silvestre Bauzon. Leonor's father, who was one of the few persons who conspired in Jose's secret departure to Spain, is a cousin of the hero's father, Francisco Mercado. Subjectively considered as a pretty lady, Leonor is commonly described as having wavy soft hair, high forehead, wistful almond eyes, small and pensive mouth, and charming dimples. She was said to be intelligent and talented, as she could play the harp and the piano skills which matched his fascinating singing voice. So in this topic, Leonor Rivera was widely considered as the true love of Rizal. Leonor was the daughter of Antonio Rivera and Silvestre Bauzon, and beside of being described as a pretty lady, Leonor was also an intelligent and talented lady. Leonor was a tender as a budding flower, collegiala at the La Concordia College, when she became romantically involved, though secretly with her distant relative Rizal. Though both Leonor Rivera and Segunda Katigbak, Rizal's first love, studied in the same school, they probably had not met and known each other, much less pulled each other's hair, as the Tarlaqueña was 4 years younger than the Batangueña. Rizal was just a young high school student in Ateneo when he was dating Segunda. When he boarded at his Uncle Antonio's boarding house in Intramuros and became the boyfriend of the landlord's daughter. Rizal was already a second-year medical student then at the UST. When Rizal was a high school student in Ateneo, he was dating Segunda. Rizal became the boyfriend of the landlord's daughter when he was boarded in his Uncle Antonio in Intramuros when he was second-year medical student in UST. Secret as the romance was to Leonor's parents. She used pen names in her letters to Jose. She hid from the signatures La Cuestión del Oriente and Temis Altamis. Records aren't clear on what Jose used in return. Some students jokingly guessed that he used pseudonyms like Pinsan or Kuya Pepe or ang inyong brother. The funniest suggestion so far is ang pamangkin ng iyong ama, aka the Kalamba Boy. In one of India's street brawls against young Spaniards in Escolta, Rizal was wounded on the head. Bleeding and filthy, he was brought home by friends to his boarding house. With tender love and care, Leonor nursed him. His wound was gently washed and carefully dressed, though the band-aid used was unnamed. Leonor Valenzuela and Jose Rizal's invisible love letters. Leonor Valenzuela, nicknamed Orang, was commonly described as a tall girl with regal bearing who was Rizal's province mate. She was the daughter of Capitan Juan and Capitana Sanday Valenzuela, who were from Pansanhan, Laguna. Orang was Rizal's neighbor when he boarded in the house of Doña Concha Liva in Intramuros during his sophomore year at the University of Santo Tomas as medicine student. To finally move on, perhaps from his unsuccessful love story with Segunda Katigbak, Rizal frequently visited Orang's house with or without social gatherings. The proofs that Rizal indeed courted her were the love letters he sent her. His love notes were mysteriously written in the invisible ink made of common table salt and water, which could be read by heating the note over a candle or lamp. So in this topic, Leonor Valenzuela, who was Rizal's province mate, was commonly described as a tall girl and her nickname was Orang. Orang was Rizal's neighbor when he was boarded in Intramuros in the house of Doña Concha when Rizal is studying in University of Santo Tomas as medicine student. When Rizal was totally moved on in his unsuccessful love story with Segunda, Rizal courted Orang and sent her love letters that can be read by heating the note over the lamp or candle.
More than a manifestation of Rizal's knowledge of chemistry, his magical love notes to Orang, one can say are proof that he wanted to keep the courtship private. So, labaw sa pagpakita sa kaibaan ni Rizal sa chemistry, ang iyang mahiwagang love notes kang Orang, usa sa pruweba nga gusto niya itago ra ang pagpanguyab adto kang Leonor Valenzuela or ni Orang. But why he want to make it secret? Pero nga nung gusto ni Rizal isekreto ra? So, many references declare that Orang was Rizal's object of affection while he was courting the other Leonor, his cousin Leonor Rivera. If this were true, then sending invisible love letters would indeed be the smart thing to do, for other people would find them as mere blank papers. Daghang mga referensya ang nagpahayag nga si Orang ay usa sa kinagiliwan ni Rizal samtang nangyab siya sa laing Leonor ang iyang igagaw nga si Leonor Rivera. Kung kini tinuod man ang pagpadaan ni Rizal sa invisible love letter usa sa maayong buhaton alang sa ubang mga tawo nga makitaan kini nga mga blanko ra na papel. So mao ay ning rason nga gusto ni Rizal nga isekreto ra ang pagpanguyab kang Orang kay tungod nang uyab man sa DI siya sa laing Leonor. Without clear material evidence, the two-timer charge could indeed be easily denied. So kung malay klaro ang mga ebidensya, ang two-timer charge, dali ra kayo i-deny. To do a further speculative stretch, Rizal was perhaps thinking that if both ladies would become his girlfriends, he would not make the mistake of calling any of them by wrong name. So paghimog dugang sa mga haka-haka, tingali naghunahuna si Rizal nga kung ang duha ka babae mahimong iyang uyab, dili siya masayop sa pagtawag sa bisan kinsa nila sa sayop nga ngalan. When Rizal left for Spain, he received a letter from his friend and confidant Jose M. Cecilio or Chingoy, indicating that the two ladies had an idea that their common denominator was not only their first name. So, sa dihang mibiya si Rizal paingon sa Espanya, nakadawat siya sulat gikan sa iyang higala o sinaligan nga si Jose M. Cecilio or si Chingoy nga napakita nga ang duha ka babae adunay ideya nga ang ilang common denominator dili lamang ang ilang unang ngalan. Nagpipilit ang munting kasera si Leonor Rivera na makita si Urang pero dahil natatakpan ng isang bilong puti, hindi namin nakilala nang dumaan ng prosesyon sa tapat ng bahay. Sinabi sa akin ni Urang na sabihin ko raw sa munting kasera na hindi siya kumakariba sa pag-iibigan ninyo. So the letter suggests that either Urang was giving way to Rivera's love affair or she, Urang, was not that interested in Rizal. In fact, records were not clear if she officially reciprocated Rizal courtship. So if neither she never took Rizal courtship seriously, we could not actually blame her. So, ang suwat, nagsuggest nga si Urang ang naghatag og dalan sa Rivera Rizal love affair. O si Urang dili kayo interesado kang Rizal. In fact, ang mga record dili klaro kung official ba niyang tinugon ang pagpanguyab ni Rizal. Kung wala jud niya giseryoso ang pagpanguyab ni Rizal, dili jud nato mabasol si Urang. Here would be affair with Rizal could only be either a bond relationship from segundo say failed affair or an unhealthy love triangle with the other linear in the equation. So mahimong rebound lang ang iyang relasyon kang Rizal gikan segunda labos si failed affair or dili maayo nga love triangle with other Leonor in the equation. Unlike her Tokayo, Orang didn't feel much sorrow upon Rizal's departure. She was said to have accepted other suitors, attended social parties, and ended up marrying an employee of a trade house. So unlike sa iyang katukayo or sangay, si Orang wala kayo nag-uol sa pagbayat ni Rizal. Mingon pa siya nga mudawat pa siya ubang mga manguyabay, sumtambong sa mga social parties, and ended up marrying on an employee of a trade house. Jose, victim of Spanish officer's brutality. So when he was freshman medical student at UST, he experienced his first taste of Spanish brutality. So sa dihang freshman pa si Rizal sa medical student sa UST, nasinati niya ang unang pagtilo sa kabangis sa Espanyol. A lieutenant of Guardia Civil whipped out his sword and brutally slashed Jose on his back. So ang usa ka tiyente sa Guardia Civil nagawa sa iyang spado, brutal nga gilaslas si Jose sa iyang likod. So, reason, he was not able to salute nor say a courteous good evening. So, ang rason nga nung nahitabo to kung sige wala siya makasaludo sa lieutenant o wala siya kasulti o good evening. So, nga na din sa ilahan no, kung di lang sila makasulti o makasaludo or moingon o mga good evening o may buntag ba is yun nga tuon dahil sila brutal na ganing bunalan sila pumayo. Then, Rizal reported the incident to General Primo de Rivera, the Spanish Governor General at the time. So, gireport na sila ang pangitabok ang General Primo de Rivera, ang Spanyol nga governor at niadtong panahon na. But, no action was over. So, pero, wala naghatag action ang governor. The reason, Rizal sa Negyo. So, ang reason nga nung wala naghatag action ang governor is si Rizal daw ko ng Indio. So, ang Indio sa na kay Marama na siyang made. Sugo-sugoon lang. So, tong rason manong wala naghatag action ang General.
Other literary works of Jose Rizal: Abdi el-Aziz and Muhammad. Abdi el-Aziz y Muhammad, December 1879. This epic poem was written by Jose Rizal in 1879 and declined by a certain Manuel Fernandez on the night of December 8, 1879. In honor of Ateneo's patrones, it recalls the struggle between the Spaniard and the Moros in Spain. So, Jose Rizal wrote the Abdi el-Aziz and Muhammad poem. It's because to serve as a reminder for us to love our motherland. Al-MRP, Pablo Roman, 1881. Jose Rizal truly loved his alma mater, Ateneo, as well as his professor. He wrote a poem for one them, Al-MRP, Pablo Roman, a lovely tribute to the very revered Pablo Roman, rector of the Ateneo, who had been as kind and helpful to the national hero. The poem was written on the occasion of Rector's birthday. So Jose Rizal wrote this poem because, as an expression of affection to Father Pablo Roman, the Ateneo rector who had been so kind and helpful to him. So Jose Rizal wrote this poem because of Pablo Roman. Champion of Filipino student. Rizal was the champion of the Filipino student in their fight against the arrogant Spanish students. In 1880, Rizal founded the secret society of Filipino students in the UST called Compañeros or Comradeship, whose members were called companions of Jiho. After the volunteer general who fought the Amiens, Galeco Apacable, Rizal cousin from Batangas, was the secretary. First encountered near the Escalta in Manila, where Rizal was wounded on the head and tenderly washed and dressed by Leonor Rivera in his boarding house Casa Tomasina. Scholastic records of Rizal. Although his grades in the first year of the philosophy course were all excellent, They were not impressive in 4 years of his medical course. So here's the grade of Jose Rizal in